Your company's most sensitive conversations are being learned by Claude AI right now, not deleted. Learned. Anthropic's new tag feature in Slack is collecting organizational data at a scale most teams don't even realize. This changes everything you thought about enterprise AI safety. Here is exactly what is happening. When you use Claude Tag in Slack, every message in that conversation becomes training material. Your strategy documents, customer lists, internal debates, financial projections, they are all fair game. Anthropic systems are analyzing patterns unique to your organization. They are building a profile of how your company thinks, decides, and operates. This is not theoretical. This is happening right now in thousands of workplaces. Most employees have no idea their messages feed AI training pipelines. Your team lead set up the integration. Nobody asked permission. What you are about to hear will shock you. Understanding the mechanics reveals the real privacy problem. When you mention Claude Tag in Slack, the AI threads through your entire conversation history automatically. It reads context. It understands your business logic. It observes how decisions actually happen versus how they are supposed to happen. Here is what most people miss. The tag does not just answer your question. It learns relationships between your data points. If you ask Claude about customer retention and profit margins in the same thread, the system maps that connection to your company. Do this across hundreds of conversations, and Anthropic has a complete behavioral model of your organization. Your competitors would pay millions for this insight. Anthropic gets it for free. The scary part is what comes next. These patterns feed into future Claude model training. Your proprietary business logic becomes part of a model served to everyone else. A competitor using Claude could receive suggestions shaped by your own strategic thinking. This is not speculation. This is how large language models work. You upload data, the system learns from it, improved models emerge, and your company becomes the training ground. Want to know what else Claude learns about your team? Be specific about what Anthropic systems actually extract from your Slack workspace. Project timelines. They see when you launch, when you fail, when you pivot. Compensation details. Claude reads salary discussions, equity grants, negotiation strategies, customer names and contracts, your largest accounts, your weakest relationships, your most lucrative deals. Organizational hierarchy, the real power structure, who influences whom, whose opinions matter. Strategic vulnerabilities. Every conversation where your team doubts a direction reveals where you are weak. Technical architecture details. Your entire system design explained to an AI in conversation. Hiring plans and turnover. Claude learns who is leaving, who is struggling, who is essential. Vendor relationships and pricing. Every negotiation secret you discuss gets cataloged. Anthropic's privacy policy allows this because it falls under business analytics and model improvement. The language is vague on purpose. Terms like improving service quality and developing new features are intentionally broad. Your organization is treated as a dataset, not a client with protected information. Here is what most CIOs still do not understand. You signed a data processing agreement, yes, but the agreement does not prevent Anthropic from learning from your data. It just regulates how the raw data is stored. The learning, the insight extraction, the pattern analysis that happens anyway, that is the product. This is not just a privacy issue. It is a competitive and security threat all at once. Consider what a nation-state could learn from Slack analysis alone. Economic forecasting. If Anthropic sees enough company conversations, they understand which sectors are growing and which are dying months before public earnings reports. Espionage targeting. An adversary could identify your highest value employees, your weakest leaders, your internal conflicts, then target recruitment accordingly. Negotiation leverage. When your organization enters talks with another company also using Claude Tag, both parties' strategies are in Anthropic's possession. Vulnerability discovery. Security teams discuss patches, exploits, defensive measures. All of that gets learned by the AI. Here is the darker possibility. Anthropic is a private company with investors. Those investors have incentives. Imagine if a venture capitalist with stakes in your competitor could request analysis of your strategic conversations. The terms of service do not technically prevent it. This is why security professionals are starting to ban Claude Tag integration in sensitive departments. Financial teams, legal departments, executive leadership, these groups are discovering that the convenience of AI assistance comes with real espionage cost. Your security posture is only as strong as your weakest information policy. If marketing can use Claude Tag freely, and marketing knows customer acquisition strategy, and strategy informs product development, then your entire roadmap is learning. One department is not isolated, and Anthropic sees everything. Are you starting to understand the full picture? Anthropic publishes a privacy policy that sounds reassuring. They say they do not sell your data. Technically true. They do not sell data. They extract signal from it. That signal improves Claude. Improved Claude gets used by your competitors. That is worth far more than money. They say they use data for service improvement. Also technically true. Improving a service means training models on real-world usage. Your Slack conversations are real-world usage. They claim you retain ownership of your data. You do. They retain ownership of the patterns they learned from it. Ownership of patterns is actually more valuable than ownership of raw data. A pattern about your company is proprietary insight. A raw Slack message might contain proprietary information, but a pattern revealing your decision-making process is a blueprint. Anthropic's public statements focus on what they do not do rather than what they do. This is intentional framing. The absence of data selling does not mean absence of data use. The company has been cautious about this topic because the practice is not yet regulated. European regulators are starting to notice. Some have suggested Claude Tag should trigger GDPR compliance checks. But in the US and most of the world, there is no law saying an AI company cannot learn from enterprise data provided willingly by customers. The gray area is intentional. Anthropic benefits from that ambiguity. But here is what matters for your organization right now. The policy will change. It always does. When regulation arrives, the data that Anthropic learned from your company today will have already shaped multiple generations of Claude models. You cannot unlearn that. The patterns your company created will have influenced competitors for years. The strategic advantage you lost cannot be recovered. This is why timing matters. If you are going to restrict Claude Tag usage, do it now, not after a regulatory scandal forces your hand. 3 immediate actions will protect your competitive position and employee privacy. First, audit current Claude Tag usage. You probably have it running in more channels than you realize. Marketing might be analyzing customer conversations. Sales might be discussing deal structure. Product might be explaining your roadmap. HR might be explaining compensation frameworks. Find every instance. Document what types of information flows through those channels. This takes 1 day. It saves months of potential exposure. Second, create a Claude Tag policy that actually restricts sensitive conversations. Not a vague guideline, a hard policy. No Claude Tag in channels containing customer discussions, strategic planning, financial information, or technical architecture decisions. Yes, this reduces AI convenience. That is the point. Convenience is the tool that creates exposure. Third, evaluate whether Anthropic is the right vendor for your organization at all. There are alternatives with different privacy models. Open source models that you run on your own servers. Closed source competitors who have taken different privacy stances. Claude is smart. But smart is not the only attribute that matters. Safe matters too. And for many organizations, safe means not feeding proprietary conversations into any external AI system's training pipeline. Your board should have this conversation before your next security audit forces it. Right now you have agency. You can choose to restrict Claude Tag. You can choose a different AI vendor. You can choose to build your own solution. That choice disappears the moment a regulator, a competitor, or a breach forces your hand. Do you want to make this decision or have it made for you? First takeaway, Claude Tag is not just answering your questions, it is learning your organization. Every conversation with Claude Tag becomes training data that shapes future Claude models. Your strategic thinking, your decision patterns, your vulnerabilities, they are all being extracted. This is not a bug. This is the business model. Second takeaway, your privacy policy gives you rights that your data learning policy does not protect. Anthropic legally preserves your raw data privacy while extracting insight from your conversations. The insight, not the raw data, is the real asset. Your organization is paying for AI convenience while providing unpaid model training. Third takeaway, you have a limited window to act. Regulations are coming. Once they arrive, your competitive advantage leak will have already happened. Make your Claude Tag policy decision now. This is not alarmism. This is organizational security. Subscribe to AI Pulse for daily breakdowns of how artificial intelligence is reshaping your business. The future is arriving faster than you think. Are you keeping up?